This is the story of the rich guy and the porter. And they're staying in this big hotel together. And the rich guy says to the porter, he says, "Hey man, you think you could get some guys to come up here in my room and play poker with me?" And he says, "I don't know, boss man. Let me go see what I can do about that." You can cut the card, Shane.
Sure.
So the porter goes out, and he goes down 1 street, and 2 streets, and 3 streets, and to 4 houses. And he comes back, and he says, "Hey, guy, I got those 4 guys that you wanted to come play poker with you." And he said, "Well, thank you very much. Here's your $2." And he says, "Well, I got to know, how are you doing this?" And he says, "Well, boss man, I got friends on 6th Street, 7th Street, and 8th Street." And he says, "Well, while you're at it, you think there's any way that you could get us some ladies to come up here and keep us company while we're playing?" He said, "I don't know. Let me go see what I can do." Okay? So he goes down 1 street, and 2 streets, and 3 streets, and he goes to 3 houses. And he comes back, and he says, "Hey, boss man, I went and got you those ladies. I got you 2 redheads and 2 brunettes." And he said, "Oh, thank you very much. Here's your $2, but I still got to know, how are you doing this?" And he says, "Well, I already told you I got friends on 6th Street, 7th Street, and 8th Street." And he says, "Well, I tell you, while you're at it, you think you could find us some guys to come up here and wait on us while we're sitting here playing and enjoying our time?" And he says, "I don't know, boss man. Let me go see." Okay. And so he goes down 1 street, 2 streets, he goes to 4 houses, and he comes back. And he says, "I got you 4 guys to come wait on you. I hope that they work out for you." And he said, "Thank you very much. Here's your $2. He says, "Hey, you guys by any chance cash checks?" And he says, "Well, sure. How much is a check?" And he says, $40. He said, "I'll go see what I can do about it." Okay. So he goes down 1 street, and 2 streets, and 3 streets, and he goes to 3 houses. And then the porter comes back. And he says, "Hey, boss man, I got the check cashed, $40. I got you 4 tens. I hope that's okay." And he said, "That's great. Here's $10, 2 fives. You go ahead and take it." And he said, "Hey, man, is it too late for me to get a little bit of whiskey?" He said, No, never too late, boss man. I'll be right back." Okay. And then the porter went down 1 street, 2 streets, 3 streets, went to 2 houses. And he come back. And he says, "I hope it's okay, but I got you 4 bottles of Ace brand whiskey." And so he said, "That's great. Here's your $2. And he says, "Hey man, by the way, how old are you anyway?" And he said, "I'm 46 years old." And he said, "That's crazy. You don't look a day over 35. And he says, "Let me ask you, you've been married before?" He said, "Yeah, I've been married. I got 7 kids. I got 4 boys and 3 girls." And he said, "Well, that's wonderful." He said, "What about poker? You ever played any poker too?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, I belong to a club. We call it the 48 Club." And he said, "Do you ever win when you go play at the 48 Club?" He said, "No, I always get hands like this." He said, "Did you mean to tell me that you get 4 nines and you can't win?" And he says, "Yeah, some guy always comes in there with a hand like this."